a building to scout oncoming attacks. Natural expansions can be found right down the ramp from the main base, and quite often players will fast expand. Expect to see Protoss users wall off with 2 buildings as the narrow choke allows for it. High-yield expansions are at the 11 and 5 up positions, with Zilnaga towers in the middle of the map providing sight to any approaching attacks.
All right, man. I could listen to that all day. We can just put that on repeat. Now, we are going to go ahead and get this started here. It does look like Kiwi's having a little bit of technical difficulty just with this sound. And so as soon as he is ready with that sound, then we are going to go ahead and get started. They're moving players around. I know we've said it a lot, but KiwiKaki just played a game. They probably did make him switch computers, so going to get everything set up like that and good to go. There's a lot of players in here playing games on these PCs, so it's a little bit hectic, but it shouldn't take that much longer as it's just a minor error here. Now, KiwiKaki is not going to be too happy. I mean, obviously he lost that last series, and momentum is huge in StarCraft. If you're not in the right mindset, then it can really throw you off your game, although those were close games, and so maybe he can kind of go off that energy and realize, well, you know what, if I go against Huck again, I'll get my revenge.
Well, here's the thing. KiwiKaki's he is a poker player, and if he's a successful poker player, he knows how to control his mindset. He's not going to go on tilt, which is a term for when you lose, and then you just lose all control, self-discipline, and you just play bad. I don't think that's going to be the case here. KiwiKaki's a trained professional. He's been in a lot of high-level tournaments, and I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Even though he just lost that last game to Huck, he knows all he has to do for that rematch is to defeat Socke.
There we go. Yeah, and just so you guys know, you probably figured this one out already, but in the last 3 players, they are all Protoss. So we're going to see a Protoss versus Protoss second brackets finals, and then the finals, regardless of what happens in this game, is going to be another Protoss versus Protoss. So all my homeboys from Ire are pretty happy. Everyone else from, you know, Earth and wherever Zerg Char,
the Copperloo sector.
It's sad, man. Yeah, they aren't too happy right now. And it does look like both players are ready, so we are going to go ahead and get this game started. The countdown timer has begun. So this is the lower bracket finals, which I just want to make sure everyone that's just tuning in realizes it is not the finals. Just got to make that 100% clear. It is going to be the lower bracket finals.
That is right. All right, Socke spawning here as the blue Protoss down in the bottom left-hand corner. We have a quick pause from KiwiKaki, so it looks like the technical difficulties are still recurring here. His sound issue might not be fixed quite yet, and we might have a restart here early on in the first game.
Yeah, we have had a couple of hardware issues, which really it can be just a compatibility issue of your hardware with these brand new computers. A lot of players use ancient hardware that was made like before I was born, and so you know you just got to use with what you're comfortable with. So we're going to go ahead and see exactly what the issue is here as they try and get that one figured out. But I do want to mention it is pretty interesting to see 3 Protoss here. There we go. The game is going to be resumed, but it's interesting to see 3 Protoss in the finals, as the last couple of tournaments that have taken place, much larger tournaments, they haven't had nearly that many Protoss.
Yeah, it's important to note that it is all Protoss here in the end of this MLG Raleigh, North Carolina event featuring StarCraft 2. So whoever wins in this PvP battle will go on to play Huck in another PvP battle. So Protoss versus Protoss, man, everyone's favorite mirror matchup. Cannot wait to see how this goes on and how the players are going to win or lose in this losers bracket finals.
All right, so I don't know if we did this before the pause, but spawning in the top right side is going to be KiwiKaki, the red Protoss, and spawning down in the bottom left side is going to be Socke, also the blue Protoss. We've been over that like 100 bajillion times, and it will be interesting to see if KiwiKaki is going to be doing a similar playstyle. I don't think that Socke was actually able to watch the games that we just cast because he was playing against another player at that time, so I don't know if he knows what exactly to expect in this matchup. I mean, KiwiKaki in his last PvP against Huck, he went the 4-gate basically every single game, and then because of that, his tech was just a little too far behind, which did end up costing him the game. So will he try and make it work on this map? It could be a little bit more effective because you simply cannot block your main off with just force fields.
KiwiKaki here is getting a really delayed gateway, ladies and gentlemen. Really just finally now throwing it down at 14 supply. On the other side of the map, though, Socke threw down his gateway at a very standard timing. So KiwiKaki is going to have just a little bit higher probe count. You guys can see that it just evened out right there, but for a second, yeah, 15 over 14. So KiwiKaki has a slightly better economy. Socke is going to have a slightly earlier gateway. Not really too much of an advantage or disadvantage to either player because it's so minuscule. And of course, the Zealot, if, you know, Socke can get an early Zealot out, but it has to run across all of the side of the map to get to KiwiKaki's base, so that small advantage will get terminated.
And it does look like KiwiKaki is getting his second pylon before that Cybernetics Quarry. Of course, he's going to do that simply because he did get that gateway a little bit later, and which, although Socke, on the other hand, didn't get his second pylon, I don't even see it anywhere quite yet, as he will be needing to get it here in just a moment.
Oh, is he supply blocked?
Yeah, it does seem like he is right now. I'm not sure exactly what he has planned. He does have almost 200 minerals already, so maybe a misclick or something. It just definitely does seem an awkward long amount of time not to have. Oh, there it is. It's a proxy one, but it's still only halfway done. He's been supply blocked for a while.
Yeah, still a pretty late pylon. I think he was just trying to find a place to throw up that proximity pylon, and he finally settled on the back of the natural expansion. That new pylon warping in is going to open up that Psylocke so you can start warping in more units. Now using Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate technology. So what we are about to see, ladies and gentlemen, is Socke trying some early aggressive play. He's going to try to morph in units right here behind the natural expansion and then run up into the main. I don't know how effective this is going to be. I would have preferred to see the pylon hidden somewhere inside the actual main base, but of course, that means that KiwiKaki would probably have scouted it out because he's probably going to check his main right now. Yeah, he's checking it with the Zealot to see if there's any kind of proxy pylon inside the base. But look at that, three gateways being morphed in right now. He's got the Warp Gate technology on the way, so Socke here playing standard Protoss 4-gate, and soon there's going to be a lot of aggression.
This is definitely a different playstyle so far from KiwiKaki. He needs to make sure not to get too much of an economy because, like we were saying before, you cannot hold that ramp indefinitely because of that backdoor entrance once those rocks have been destroyed. Socke, though, once again taking advantage of the map, basically layout, as he has placed that pylon in a place it will probably never get scouted. And then, of course, right as I say that, KiwiKaki's like, I know what's up, pylon. Not nice. You anymore because you're going to get taken out. And so, yeah, now the 4 warp gates have finished, but he can't proxy those, so he can't warp them in, although he's going to try. And so he does get 3 of them in there at the very last second possible, and now it's just going to be a micro war from here on out.
That is right. Socke here obviously going to be using that Chrono Boost on as much as his warp gates as he possibly can. Going to start morphing in more reinforcements. KiwiKaki realizes he's in trouble. He's going to have to try to hold at this ramp. He has to hold at the ramp. He needs a sentry so badly for force field, but he's still kind of behind in the technology because he's been opting to go for economy this entire game. His economy 7 harvesters higher than Socke, but does that matter because Socke is being extremely aggressive right now. Only 2 gateways up for KiwiKaki. This is really bad for KiwiKaki. Can he hold this off? He's lost 1 stalker apiece to each side going down, and it looks like it's going to be very close, but I think Socke, with his early aggressive play, is going to come out ahead. He has 2 Zealots, 3 Stalkers inside KiwiKaki's main. KiwiKaki just now getting Warp Gate technology, but it is too late to compare to Socke's macro.
Do note that KiwiKaki there actually had 700 minerals, so something about his build is definitely not going according to plan. However, he was able to get 4 Stalkers out, just now losing 1, and he does have a probe advantage, so he can afford to bring down a couple of probes here to try and absorb some of these Stalker shots, and he really needs to make another pylon here to power these gateways because it is very, very low. If that pylon goes down, which I think is exactly what Socke is looking to take out, no, he is going to engage this army directly. It doesn't look like there is enough Stalkers here. KiwiKaki is trying to warp in enough to hold this, but this is a very, very close battle. Keep in mind that if Socke chooses, he can either expand or continue to reinforce this, but really got to hand it to KiwiKaki with this amazing micro, able to keep himself in this game, and he still does have a slight economic advantage.
200 APM apiece for both these players, obviously furiously multitasking their units, trying to keep them out of harm's way and keep them alive, pulling out units when they're in the red to continue to use them in the fight. It is going to be so close, but I think Socke is going to be able to come out ahead. He's got this Stalker just chilling here in the back, obviously microing that and forgetting about that, and the action continues here on KiwiKaki's territory. He's finally got 4 gateways up. He's got them all transformed into a warp gate, and the important difference is he's got 5 more harvesters, so he's going to be able to pump out more units than Socke can. But the thing is, Socke's got 2 Zealots inside his main trying to kill off those probes, and it looks like KiwiKaki is going to be able to clear out those Zealots and the Stalker as well, but more aggressive play from Socke as he morphs in more reinforcements.
Wow, KiwiKaki actually able to hold that, but the pylon does look like it will go down. Is that going to be a huge deal, though, as it is only actually going to unpower 1 gateway, although with 4 more Stalkers showing up in the main, these Zealots are not exactly what he needs to deal with this, as his own Stalkers are going to get trapped here in this back corner, although they were able to slip out of there. And so again, this is as micro intensive as it gets. It is still anyone's game at this point. Do note, though, that KiwiKaki is supply blocked, and all he has is Zealots, which can just get kited all day. say, with 2 more Stalkers reinforcing this right now, Socke is looking to be in very, very good shape here, as KiwiKaki has lost almost 1,000 minerals more worth of units, so Socke's micro really shining right now.
The battle rages on KiwiKaki's base, and it looks like Socke still is going to be able to use these Stalkers, going to try to hide them behind the bushes. Probe's forced to pull off the line to fend off these Stalkers. It is going to be so close, but I think that Socke is going to lose his aggressive play here. He's just lost all of his forces, and this is where KiwiKaki's 4 additional probes really start to kick in. He's going to be able to morph in more reinforcements faster than Socke can. Socke here has these Zealots kind of stuck. The KiwiKaki morphing in his Zealots to block off the Zealots from getting access to the mineral line, and I think this might be it for Socke. Socke's going to be forced to fall back. KiwiKaki's going to be able to push forward and crush this proxy pylon down to the south. It's going to be really close, but I still think KiwiKaki has a slight advantage because he's got 5 more harvesters, more battle raging on the natural expansion of KiwiKaki's base, and I think KiwiKaki is going to push Socke's forces back.
Wow, man, after that battles, I feel like I need milk and cookies to take a nap. That was so much micro there. They have got to be exhausted, and this is only game number 1. He is so pissed off at that pylon right now. He wants to kill it, but more units warping in, and here we go, man. This is like round 15, as it is going to be micro back and forth, but he does have the advantage of his positioning there, which is why Socke was forced to back out.
All right, Socke here, somehow, someway, he's been able to keep this pylon alive. Like you said, round 15, round 20, whatever it is, the battle rages on, and Socke needs more units, though. He's at 36 supply, whereas KiwiKaki is at 46. So really, at this point, KiwiKaki doesn't have to worry about micro nearly as much because he's just got a larger army. Now, here we go, a massive battle raging on. KiwiKaki using those Zealots to push the Stalkers back, but Zealots for Socke kind of attacking the Zealots in the back of KiwiKaki. KiwiKaki, though, still has a numbers advantage, gonna force these 3 Stalkers away, and I think he is finally going to be able to kill off this pylon. Is he going to go for it? Not really. He's just going to let Socke run up with these 3 Stalkers, but they are going to run into a Stalker and 2 Zealots as well. Man, this game is just so close. It is hard to tell who's going to win this game.
Socke at this point does have good position on the map. He was able to take out 2 more Stalkers there, and Socke rather lost that battle, excuse me, and he is trying to get this ramp, but he is also going to lose this battle. One thing I got to note is if you look at the units lost tab, it's actually going to start favoring KiwiKaki here pretty soon. He was very, very far behind, but now he's definitely kept himself in this game and even able to kill those reinforcing units inside of his main. So I really got to hand it to KiwiKaki. He is definitely microing like crazy. And as you mentioned a couple of minutes ago here, HD, is their APM is just through the roof right now, and that pylon finally goes down, so maybe these players can get a breather. Although KiwiKaki says, nope, I'm going to put a proxy pylon and put this basically right in your face.
Yeah, so yeah, KiwiKaki is basically reversing the roles here. He was finally able to take out that proxy pylon, which is going to relieve a lot of pressure on his door, and now he's got his own proxy pylon. Looks like a force field blocking access for KiwiKaki to get inside of Socke's main. Socke here holding the front door with a mere sentry. He needs another sentry so badly. The force field wears off. KiwiKaki runs up into the main, and Socke here could be in a lot of trouble. He only has 3 Stalkers and a sentry, not enough forces compared to KiwiKaki's, and KiwiKaki continuing to flood in more Zealots. This could very well be a fast GG here for Socke. Socke, neither player transitioned. They all played 4-gate all day long, but it looks like KiwiKaki with that small probe advantage was able to eke out the victory here today. Not sure how Socke can get back in this. He's going to have to pull probes off the line, but of course that means he's going to take heavy income losses.
And there's the GG. Wow, that was one of the most micro-intensive games I think I've ever seen. Really went back and forth for both players, and really I would say that KiwiKaki had a disadvantage as far as units lost, but since he had a slight economic advantage, it didn't matter as much because those 5 or 6 probes extra he had were able to gather those minerals back, and since he was able to micro perfectly right there, it allowed him just to finally push out back across the map. That was a fantastic game there from KiwiKaki, and he actually got his fourth warp gate very, very late, his 3rd and 4th rather, and so he's able to hold it with just 2 long enough to get those out, and that is a very difficult position to play from because while you do have the economic advantage, they have an army advantage, and they're in your base, which is where an army advantage, you know, obviously that's where you want your army.
Obviously. So, you know what? I think here's why Socke kind of lost that game, or excuse me, Socke was the one who played KiwiKaki, and KiwiKaki was able to win that game. Socke went for aggressive play. He didn't really save up his chrono boost for probes, whereas KiwiKaki said, look, I'm not going to go for early 4-gate pressure right away. I'm going to chrono boost probes first and then get my gateways down, and it was such a close window, but Socke wasn't able to open it up and exploit it. He went in there and he had a chance, but eventually that probe difference for KiwiKaki KiwiKaki kicked in, and KiwiKaki was finally able to push Socke out of there.
And if you think back to the last games where KiwiKaki was very aggressive every single game, I'm just curious as if he had planned to do that again, be very, very aggressive, and then all of a sudden he's in a position where he has to deal with it. And if you deal it, you have to be able to deal with it as well. And he was able to hold it off, really show his micro skills there. Although both players microed like crazy, and KiwiKaki came out ahead in that one.
Yeah, that was such a micro-intensive battle. I mean, if I had to play in a game like that, I would probably drop dead from exhaustion after about 10 minutes because